Hello, everybody. Very nice to see all of you today. My name is Peter Xu. I'm from California State University, Domingo Hills. Today, I'm going to present a work with Dr. Ke Jiahu and Ao Xu, and I'm going to share with you my screen. Okay, everybody can see my screen, correct? So the title of this work is called The Psychology of Virtual Queue When Waiting Feels Less Likely Waiting. So you probably would like to ask me, what is virtual queue? Now I'm going to explain to you. But before that, let's see traditionally, and even today, as you can see, there are so many people waiting in line just for a cup of coffee, a cup of drink, and it with lots of their time. Maybe 8 hours a drink, 8 hours waiting, and 2 minutes drink. So waiting is so universal and common for today. But is there anything we can do with that? One of the examples we are looking at is the Yelp waitlist app. As you can see, you can find out the time which you wait, and you do not necessarily to be there. Rather than that, you can join the queue remotely and do whatever you want. You can also see the position in the line, and it is updated very often, probably in 1 minute or so. So in this way, you can occupy your time rather than by waiting by something else. So virtual queue can have an online to offline coordination, allow customers to join a queue for service remotely, and receive frequent updates about their queue positions. So as you can see, these are some of the examples in the beauty, entertainment, and healthcare service. In other words, virtual queue nowadays is pretty common. And we want to differentiate the perceived waiting time and actual time. As you can see from this graph, while actual time is increasing, your perceived waiting time is even increased more. So that's awful, but this is the truth. So to deal with that, virtual queue can have lots of benefits. We hypothesize virtual queue can reduce the perceived waiting time for pre-process waiting complaints. If you look at Master 1984, one of the most popular top 100 Harvard Business Review articles, the occupied time can feel shorter than the unoccupied time if you are doing something in waiting. Uncertain waits are longer than known, and unexplained waiting are longer than explained waits. In addition to that, we have two hypotheses. Virtual queue increases the in-process perceived wait complaints. So in other words, when people's expectation of less waiting is increased, so in other words, they expect less waiting time, they could expect less waiting time for the whole process. In other words, it will increase their in-process perceived wait. And at the same time, ultimately, we think about virtual queue can increase the customer's overall satisfaction, which comes to our third hypothesis. Okay, by doing that, what we look at in the previous literature, they are talking about the perceived wait is really important. And there's some empirical research on managing the perceived wait, although not too many compared with managing the actual wait time. So our research is one of the first research talk about quantify the psychology influence of virtual queue and provide a holistic view of waiting process and highlights the two separate waiting stages. And we are also looking at what kind of the providers will be most benefited by virtual queue. To do that, we collect the data from Yelp online reviews. Also, we have more data sources from technology company, restaurants website, POI factory, restaurantees to locate those restaurants and to have the sample selection. We are looking at US major chain restaurant, which have 4,748 restaurants with 1.2 million reviews, which covers 78 chains and 1.2 million online reviews. Before doing the DID regression, we want to make sure our self-selection of virtual queue issue there by doing the PSM. And as you can see, after the PSM, the distribution is pretty similar, which give a solid foundation for DID. This is another machine learning example showing that how we identify the customer waiting complaints from the reviews. And as you can see, our machine learning result will be very acceptable. These are the DID regressions. We are looking at the pre-process weight, perceived weight, in-process perceived weight, and customer satisfaction. And the key here is we are looking at the tau for the interaction terms. And from this key table, as you can see, we do not reject our first hypothesis. In other words, indeed, virtual queue reduce customers' pre-process waiting complaints. But what is even better is virtual queue doesn't increase the customers' in-process wait complaints, but quite good is overall satisfaction is increased by virtual queue, as you can see, which is pretty significant. In addition to that, we found out the effect is actually be achieved instantly instead of having a lag effect. In other words, when you have the virtual queue, as you can see, what is good is the effect is taken immediately. The complaints is reducing and the overall satisfaction is increasing. In addition to that, we are looking at the substitutability and perceived value. And we found out the virtual queue is actually have most significant value in terms of reducing the complaints and increasing the overall satisfaction if the perceived value is high and the substitutability is high. But what is even better is if the perceived value is low and the substitutability is high, which is most significant. As you can see, we have 4 stars there. And in addition to that, we do some robustness checks to rule out alternative explanations from the chain side, restaurant side, and customer side. We provide important implications in terms of letting customers being benefited by virtual queue and let the providers be benefited by the increased customer satisfaction and the potentially more demand, more revenue, and every good benefits. Thank you.